Greetings, our third year students. Congratulations for finishing your hospital rotations. What you have done by now, you should have been exposed in how commodities are managed and how different clinical conditions influence how we are going to manage commodities in terms of what inventory to keep, how much to keep, and how decisions are made on how to maintain the viability of those commodities in terms of their safety, in terms of their quality, in terms of their efficacy. And so, at your level, we need you to have more exposure. And one of the things you are going to do now is to move into the settings of community pharmacy, where you extend your clinical exposure from the hospital. You now extend it to community pharmacy, where you are expected to be in contact with patients. And from there, you expect that some of the patients you'll be the first contact, and so you need to try and apply your primary health care skills. You also, some of the patients and clients, you meet them after they've already been seen by the other medical care team members from the hospital side or from the different care settings where they will be coming from. They could be coming from hospices. They could also be coming from different places like consultation rooms. They could also be coming from home-based cares and all these places. Some of them from rehabilitation centers where they are getting services for occupational health and all those places. So some of them you meet them after they have been seen by other members of the healthcare team. And so the way you will respond and take care of them will be different. So you're moving into community pharmacy, and we just want to quickly just guide you and remind you on what is expected of you. So remember, this is just a continuation of your attachments, and so you have to use the same manual that we devised for you. You'll find on one of the pages a page that quickly guides you comprehensively on the highlights of what is expected in terms of outcomes. Then we will guide you on the reporting time. We will remind you about how you need to look as a professional. You just want to wake up one day, graduate, and you start looking professional. So we need to emphasize that. The conduct and the attitude. So we train you, you get the knowledge. We are pushing you to get to apply your skills, but eventually we want also you to have the right attitude for you to become a well-grounded professional in pharmacy. So we will also remind you about the conduct and attitude that you need to consistently develop. And then also we will look at how are we going to know that what we sent you to do is what you've actually realized. So we will do assessments the way we've done at the hospitals. We'll also visit you in the various retail pharmacy settings and assess whether you have learned, you have developed the skills, you have also developed the attitude that needs to be helpful to the general population. And then we'll also remind you about the tools that is needed for you to excel for these rotations. And then we'll remind you about when this program should end and how we will determine whether you are continuing or you move to the third year semester 2 for your finalization of your training. So quickly, as we mentioned in the hospital rotations, it is important you know that the reporting time and respect to schedules is very, very important. Why? Because you will be considered or you'll be judged. People will have perception about you in terms of your professionalism, your seriousness, your dedication to work based on your respect for time. So as students, you must report on time. Depending on the schedule be given, some of you will be in shifts. but we expect that you report no more hours. So late coming will attract severe punishment, because if we hear that you've been spending a time off what you've been asked to do and you're not reporting at the facilities when you're needed, that report will mean that you will have to spend more time until you develop the right attitude. So whenever you have a challenge, the guidance is that you have to communicate with your supervisor, the farm techs that are working with you, the pharmacist that may pass through or that may be working direct with you, and share with them what challenge you have and what you're doing about it if you have to be away from work. The dress code. People will judge you how you look professional, even when you want to look. When you want to be casual, you have to be smart about it. So I'm sure you have noticed how I'm not the very smartest person in the department or the school of pharmacy, but we try as much as possible to look presentable. That is very, very important, because the question is, if a patient looks at you, are they confident that you are likely to be the safe hands they need? If the answer is no, then there's a high chance that you have to do something about it. So dress code. You have to dress modestly. We can't make a list of things you should wear and things you shouldn't, but you have to dress modestly, like you are going for work, so you should not be offensive in what you wear. For men, you must be well dressed in a necktie. You also have to wear your white coat. Ladies, you must always dress nicely. Nicely we mean clean, and not in those mini skirts where the only thing that is longer is the coat. Once you remove that coat, there's no difference between you and the general person in the society. So we want to have professionals that can be trusted by people. Just the way you look at them, that's the way you interact with them. They have confidence in what you're doing because of the way you are looking. Always put on a clean white coat. That is very, very important. And if you have one, just make sure you wash every day after work. And this is a rain season. Make a plan on how you make those available for yourselves. I think I've talked about conduct. Any bad report from your supervisors will mean that there is need for us to stay with you longer so that we can inculcate in you the right conduct, communication, and attitude. So you must behave well as a pharmacy professional. You must know that any misconduct is not allowed and may end up being expelled from school. If we hear you have stolen anything, whether it is drugs, no, I was sick, I just took a Panadol, that is stealing. Mention you are unwell. They will show you where you need to go to the hospital. If it is just a painkiller, if they are well with that, they will give you. If they are not, you may have to buy. Do not steal, because any report of you stealing, then we'll know we are lucky. We found you. You are not supposed to be a pharmacist. And so we'll excuse you. You go and do other programs where maybe they will tolerate that kind of innovation where you start stealing. Mannerisms, we expect you to be well behaved. Represent us well, and then we actually will also reciprocate. So assessment tools and calendar. So we will come and check whether you have learned, applied what you needed to apply, and you have picked some of the things that we didn't teach you and are ready to go into your semester 2 of 3rd year and finish. So you need to have your own copy of the British National Formulary, which you can refer to and ask questions for help as you work. You need a hardcover book where you'll be writing the conditions you'll be meeting every day, and then you'll be studying, and then you'll be seeking help when you need. So when we come, we will ask for this book, and we'll check what you've been doing. It will be like another logbook. And then if we see that you've not been active enough, we'll recommend that you continue with your attachments. And so the hospital attachments were 12 weeks. The retail community pharmacy attachments are 8 weeks. So you are starting on Monday 15th. You should be ending February 15th. But within this period, we'll be able to come, whether after 2 weeks, after 1 month, or whatever time, we'll come and assess you. So what do we intend to achieve in this your rotation? We expect that when you arrive, you will be given some form of orientation about how pharmacy is structured in community pharmacy, what sort of human resources needed, the regulatory environment, and everything else that needs to be given to you. So you have some form of orientation to familiarize yourself with the operations of community pharmacy. Then you also need to do a lot of observation learning, where you'll be doing unguided learning. So you see how they work, you see how they report, you see how they psychologically handle different kind of patients. And so this is very, very important. Be observant. If your person is busy, just jot it down and ask them later and say, but why did you do that when this patient or this client did this? And they'll be able to explain. If they can't, go and read about it. If you can't find answers, post in our group, and then we'll be able to respond to it and guide. We may not have all the answers, but we can commit to research and finding some of the things that we may not be able to give off cuff. So then you also have exposure about storage management. This you already did also in hospital. It will be a continuation. And so there will be different principles on how medicines are stored before they can be dispensed or shared for different conditions. And then there is also care to patients, which we call pharmaceutical care. So this is individualization of care that has to be a crucial component of community pharmacy, where the client will have to come, and then you as a profession, you make a decision on what kind of help they need, what sort of care, from the drugs, monitoring, and also care in relation to optimization of treatment. What sort of help do they need? So you'll be responding to symptoms and deciding whether the conditions you are seeing are minor diseases and so they can be handled, or they are major diseases that needs to be referred. Even what you think may be small, consult and see, is there anything what we might be missing here that the patient may benefit by going to the hospital. So those decisions, you can't just memorize them. You have to get the experience, apply the science, and you'll get the help and begin to get better. Then you also know the services there that are there. They could be family planning services, BP checkups, and the different child health services that you'll be having. Then there will be issues of counseling, and here you have to read some books about communication, how to communicate, how do I communicate to anybody, and just remind me, I can share a book about how to talk to anybody, anywhere. Then practical skills, how to check BP, how to test for malaria, and all these things. So we expect also that you need to learn about the business, how drugs are selected. How do we select drugs that should be sold in the pharmacy? How do you determine the quantities for ordering? Where do we order? How do we order? In fact, what is also important, how do we learn how to sell? Because you learn how to sell yourself before you can actually get the services being accepted. And you learn also that, I think also you can ask for a book about selling, and I think I can share. Then pharmacovigilance is the science of identifying different adverse effects of drugs, and adverse effects can be as a result of harm to the patient in terms of the pharmacological effects, but also where the patient just can't respond to medication. All those should be included in the vigilance. So pharmacovigilance is crucial. So can you monitor every patient that comes? What are you taking? Oh, I'm taking this. How are you feeling? But the questions, if you remember in our lectures, the questions are based on what is it that you're anticipating as a professional. So this is what I wanted to share. It is a quick reaction to what it is that you need to expect. And I think this can prepare you. And we continue chatting in our group. I expect questions as you work. I expect you to seek guidance from wherever you are, and I expect the best out of you. May God bless you and go and represent us well. Best wishes, all the best. Bye-bye.